Man, it is cold today. It's like 5 degrees, wind chill is like -1, and that's Fahrenheit. And I don't know if you can tell, but we got a little bit of snow last weekend. I mean, it was like a foot of snow. Now it's all just piled up along the sides of the streets. Makes walking around with a lot of people on the streets of New York a little more challenging, but that's okay. It's pretty. So today, in the cold, we're gonna go do some more subways. So far, we've done the first IRT line, an old BRT line, the first BMT line in Manhattan, and so what's left is the IND. So we're gonna go do the 8th Avenue IND line this morning, which is the first IND line that was built. Should be good. If you're just finding this channel, I pick out places in New York City to go explore, and I take you with me. Be sure to subscribe if you haven't already. For now, though, we're gonna catch a bus to the end of the 8th Avenue line in Upper Manhattan. Let's go. Off the bus, Broadway and East 207th Street. We're up here near Inwood. Been up here a couple times before for some episodes. So this is where we're starting. Immediately there's a noticeable difference. Look at these wide platforms. So like I said, this is the first line in city-owned IND or independent subway line. So this whole line opened in 1932, and it opened to compete directly with the IRT and the BMT. So here we're at 207th Street, and this is the original and still the terminus of this line in the northern part of Manhattan. 207th Street was chosen as the northern terminus for a few strategic reasons. The city, with their IND line, was trying to extend subway service into underserved areas further north in Manhattan. This would be the city-owned alternative to the IRT and the BMT lines. The 207th Street Yard is not too far from here, and that was a key operational advantage, allowing trains to enter and exit service efficiently. This station is not that deep compared to some of the other stations that we'll see, and they used mostly the cut and cover method to build this one. Features 2 tracks, big center platform. There's a nice sized mezzanine upstairs. We'll see a bunch of those on a lot of these stations. At the time when they built this line, the area upstairs was actually pretty rural. It was semi-residential with a lot of open space. So this station remains largely as it was built, with only minor changes to lighting and signage. The platforms and the track layout have remained the same, maintaining the station's historical integrity. This station highlights the IND's dual focus on engineering and urban planning. Not every station needed to be dramatic. Some stations are built to function efficiently and opened up new neighborhoods to rapid transit. So this is really just the bookend to the IND 8th Avenue line, making it the starting point for one of the most historically significant subway corridors in New York City. We're at 190th Street. This is pretty much as deep as you can get on the subway system in New York City. The whole point of this station is to reach hilly, underserved areas in Manhattan. In this station, we're about 140 feet below ground. On the island, Washington Heights is right above us. And instead of trying to figure out a way to go over it, they decided to go right through it. Since we're so deep, instead of using shallow cut and cover methods, they just blasted right through the Manhattan schist. And along with blasting out this station, there's a long pedestrian tunnel that goes over to Broadway, so you can exit right to Broadway too. We'll go walk through that in a minute. So using that approach to build this station allowed them to reach this part of Manhattan that would have been inaccessible using other subway construction methods. From the beginning of designing the station, high-capacity elevators were part of the plan. They weren't added later. They had to have them because we're so deep. And this all reflected the IND's philosophy that subway stations should serve every rider, not just those in flat neighborhoods. Elevators right here up to Fort Washington Avenue, and then here's that tunnel over to Broadway. The tunnel comes out right there. Look at this. You can see what it's under. All this rock. All right, now I've done this to myself. My plan is to walk over to where the elevators come up, but that means I'm gonna have to walk up steps. Broadway's right down there. We're actually on Bennett Avenue. I'm walking this way to get back to, I don't even know if I can get up there. What looked good on a map may not actually work in reality. So, change of plans. We'll go back in the tunnel, we'll go up the elevator, and then we'll pop out and see what that looks like. Because I know that's beautiful, I've been up there. Let's do that. Big elevator. So up here we're by Fort Tryon Park. We've been there. You should check out that episode if you haven't seen it. This whole building here, this whole complex is the elevator shafts that go down to the subway. And again, designed with the subway because they knew they needed it here to be able to get to this station that was going to be as deep as it is. Fort Tryon Park is beautiful. There's a lot to see up here, but I'm distracted now. Back on the subway. This looks like an old ticket booth. Now we're at 181st Street. This is not quite as deep as the last station, but it's still pretty deep. We're at about 90 to 100 feet below ground. This was also constructed using the deep bore technique, and this station was also designed around elevator use. This station helped make Washington Heights viable for residential development, helping to drive an apartment construction boom in the 1930s and 40s in this area. So the IND aesthetic of this station is restrained but monumental. If you look at this huge cavernous station, it's impressive. One of the things you can see here that's common in IND stations is this mezzanine that runs along the entire length of the station. So we came out up here at 181st Street. We're going to walk from this entrance down to the other entrance, which is where the elevators are. There's a memorial that marks the site of Fort Washington back from the Revolutionary War. We may have to come back up and check this out another time, but here's what we want. Subway. Massive elevators to handle big crowds during rush hour. So we're not hitting all the stops. I'm picking and choosing a few here and there. Now we're at 168th Street. This is the end of the line for the C. This is where the C starts and heads downtown. It's also important because it's a transfer point between the IRT's 1 and the IND line that we're on. Again with the big IND mezzanines. This is 125th Street. This represents the push into Harlem for the IND. So the A, which we started on, turns into the express train once you get down here. So we had to get off to get on the local to go to the next station we're going to stop at. So this is 110th Cathedral Parkway, which we started our ride on the IRT episode at 110th Cathedral Parkway on that IRT line. This is an example of a typical IND local station. That's why I got off here. We're going to go to another IND local station next, but it's not typical. So I wanted to look at this one too. So This is 81st Street, Museum of Natural History. This is a local stop. What's significant about this stop is it's one of the only stops that doesn't have just a plain design. Decorations here actually have to do with the Museum of Natural History. Unlike other stations on lines that happen to be near institutions, this is different because this was put here specifically to serve the Museum of Natural History. Now we're at 59th Street, Columbus Circle. This was always intended to be a major IND hub. So when the IND came through here, the IRT was already here, so there was competition there. This station was a strategic must-have for the IND. It was already established as a major traffic hub. It's the gateway between Midtown and downtown, and it's an established transfer point to the IRT 7th Avenue line. Putting an IND station here signaled the city's intention to directly compete with the private companies like the IRT. So unlike the IRT stations, this station emphasizes scale over decoration, simplicity over ornamentation, and durability and clarity. The features that are still around, you see these color bands, they'll be important. They change every time you hit an express station. Once again, big mezzanines. Here's the IRT1 over this way. Over here on the one platform, remember we got the IRT ornamentation there. All right, back to the IND. Now we're at 42nd Street. The IND put a station here because this was already a major commercial hub in the city. And 42nd Street is a major east-west corridor. So when they built this station, the Port Authority bus terminal wasn't even built yet. That wasn't built until 1950, but they were trying to plan ahead for intermodal transportation. So they had enough foresight to make this station easily adaptable to be able to connect to something like that if it ever happened. And it did. At this point in the city, all of the stations are cut and cover because we're a lot shallower than we were up in the northern part of Manhattan. Again, we got the big mezzanines upstairs. This is 34th Street, Penn Station. This is a major midtown commercial corridor and a hub for both shopping and commuting. So IND wanted to connect with Penn Station, which was the main intercity rail terminal. The goal there was to integrate subway service with long-distance rail travel service and regional rail. So once again, you got wide platforms, spacious mezzanines downstairs this time. Direct connection with Penn Station wasn't fully integrated until later, but eventually they did build a tunnel to it. So this ended up serving as a model midtown IND station, and it demonstrates the IND's focus on placing subway stations near intermodal transportation. Now we're at 14th Street. This was already a major east-west corridor, which is why they put a station here. Across town, streetcars and buses. There are already dense residential neighborhoods. So it's a natural transfer corridor. So the city put their station here to make sure that their subway intersected existing travel patterns, not just created new ones. So this station gets interesting because the IND envisioned a much more expansive station here than there actually is now. There were lots of provisions made for additional platforms, additional passageways. The mezzanine layout suggests additional connections that never materialized, and the station size suggests future-proofing that was never fully used. So as a result, the station feels outsized for its actual use. A lot of that was because of abandoned expansion plans because of the Great Depression. Again, notice how the color bands of the station have changed because we passed through to a different express station. This mezzanine is enormous for what the station actually needs. The only connection really is to the L. I to keep moving. This is taking longer than I thought I was going to. So now we're at West 4th Street, and this is considered the crown jewel in the IND line. This is the most complex IND station in Manhattan. This was designed to be the IND's main switching point in lower Manhattan. The city envisioned the IND as not just a single line, but a true network. And West 4th Street is where that network would split and merge and cross and redistribute riders. So the station has 2 stacked levels, 4 tracks per level, cross-platform transfers, and a massive mezzanine and interlocking plant. So this upper level is the original level, and this is from 1932. The lower level with the BD, F&M was added in 1940. And again, notice the color change of the bands since we passed another express station. Another massive mezzanine, and then the other lines are on the lower level. This is Chambers Street, and this is the original southern terminal of the IND line. So when the IND opened, Chambers Street served as the original downtown anchor for the original IND 8th Avenue line. It marked the terminus of the first IND trunk. The station was intended to tie the new city-owned subway into lower Manhattan. The planners hoped that it could handle future expansion southward, although most of those were never realized. Chambers Street was a symbol of IND ambition, a modern, spacious station designed to handle high volumes in a dense financial district. It featured wide platforms for terminal operations, 2 tracks for arrivals, 2 tracks for departures, large mezzanine upstairs that handle big crowds. This station gave the IND direct access to lower Manhattan. And now I gotta work my way home. Funny enough, it makes the most sense for me to take the IRT to get home. So we gotta walk over there. It's again with the massive mezzanines. It's the BMT line from last time. Check that episode out if you haven't seen it yet. But over here we got City Hall Park. We're gonna walk through that, get over to the 405 on the other side, the IRT. I'm back up to the east side after another fun subway adventure, looking at the IND 8th Avenue line, the IND's first line in Manhattan. We'll find some other subway stuff to do since people seem to like that. If you're just finding this channel, be sure to check out all the rest of the episodes already available up to the east side on YouTube. Like and subscribe, tell all your friends about it, and look for new episodes every Friday. Thanks for coming with me to explore New York City. I'll see you next time.